You are now entering a dangerous liberty zone where God-given natural rights are held sacred and exercised. This is your warning. Tyranny, fascism, and censorship will not be tolerated. Ideas will be exchanged freely. Rigorous debate and open discourse is encouraged. If you are weak and your beliefs are fragile, you should leave now. Prepare yourself. We are now live on the Dangerous Liberty Podcast. Hello, happy Wednesday, everybody. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the Dangerous Liberty Podcast, where we know the only thing more dangerous than liberty is the lack thereof. I want to welcome everybody that is tuning in right now, and of course, everybody that watches this when it's not live. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you for showing up, and make sure that next time you join us live. So we will welcome everybody here in just a second. Chris, how was your week?
Doing the damn thing still. I'm still off from work.
I know you got like another 6 years. I think your kid will actually get paternity leave until he goes into college, right?
Until she gets into college. But
she, whatever. You can't even determine what she is.
No, we're actually going to allow the kindergarten teacher to determine that for us.
That's how it should be.
Yeah,
you're a great American,
right?
We got Sean back there producing tonight. He did a great job so far. He has plenty of room and opportunity to screw things up for the next hour or so. But we appreciate having you over here, Josh. Folks, we got a great show. We got a lot of things to cover. I want to go ahead and welcome everybody. Alaska Andy. We got Jeff up there. We got Evil Freak. We got Lloyd Castleton, Chad Wyckoff. Good to see you, Chad. Good talking to you on the phone the other day, buddy. UFOs for the hose. We got our Lost Boys on Rumble.
I got VT 615. I got Smash 1775. UFOs over there too.
Yeah, man, he's double tapping.
I like it.
He's got like two phones or something. I don't know even how you do that. Probably one up on the
high roller
laptop,
maybe
one on the phone,
or one on the TV, one on the phone.
I don't know what's going on. What else we got going on? Yeah, man, we've had an awesome week. We took last week off, and I am excited to get back into it. We got a lot of stuff to cover, some things that we're a little bit behind on, and I think some of you guys will actually add to that conversation.
And a first timer.
Who's up here first?
Right there.
DW Nunn. Hey, welcome, man. Welcome, and glad you're here. Make sure you join us every Wednesday.
And please comment if you don't like what we're saying or you do like what we're saying.
Absolutely. If you don't like what we're saying, we'll ban you. It's not a big deal.
At least argue.
We love differing opinions.
Right. I mean,
you get one different opinion. No, hey, look, we love everybody that jumps on here, and we want different opinions.
I got a couple more on Rumble. I got Otter, I got K Jubes, I got Tim Turner, and Mart Man.
Awesome. All right, folks. So we got a great show. We got a lot of stuff to cover. I want to talk about 2024. I want to go over some recent things that have happened as far as legislation process, some things that we have going on. I know many of you have heard of some of the stuff that we'll cover, and you'll probably be able to add to some of this. Again, a little bit behind on this, but I want to make sure that we cover this and make sure people know that we are in many ways making some good headway on the 2A front. It's a little bit back and forth. Right now, the Supreme Court is a little odd in that they have made some rulings that surprised me that I thought was going to go our way. They didn't. But again, you never know what's going on with that. So we want to stay abreast of those developments. DW Nunn says, I came here because it was the only place that gave proper instructions on how to mount a scope. Good job, man.
He's talking about you.
I'm glad you enjoyed that. If you haven't, folks, we got, I think 350, 400,000 views on my original scope mounting video. I just recently updated and released a new one on that. So if you haven't watched that, go watch that. There's some additional information. There's some additional details that I think are very important. Richie Futrell, it's good to see you. More big news. Definitely staying busy. We are definitely staying busy, folks. Our online sales and in-store sales have been going through the roof, and it's because of you guys. We really appreciate that. Summer and I are actually just doing everything we can to stay up with shipping. I was up at the store helping her ship orders out today. We appreciate you guys keeping us in mind during the holidays. I can't think of a better place to buy your Christmas gifts, both for yourself, your spouses, your family, your friends, and Paramount Tactical. We also have Christmas cards, Christmas or gift cards
Yeah, I
rather.
was gonna say Christmas cards. That'd be sweet.
Gift cards
Just a picture of
that
you
you
to
can
send to your
get,
family.
as well as we need to send that out. We need to send it out to at least to our online newsletter. We need to do a Paramount family newsletter and Christmas card. As well as courses, folks, buying courses.
I'd love
And I
to get
know
that.
next year we don't have a lot of our courses up right now. Right now, the only courses that we have solidified is a few of the XP long range courses. We will get the rest of the training schedule for 2024 up. We're working that now and deconflicting that. So that will be up soon. So stand by for that. The other thing I always want to remind people, and I think it's important, whether it's for courses, whether it's for gear, whatever it happens to be, is we do have that monthly payment plan that really helps a lot of people out. It's a layaway. It's not a financing thing where you put your down payment and we send it to you. It does have to get paid off. But again, whether it's for rifles, training, whatever it is, we make that available to you so that we can make it as easy as possible to make those purchases. We're going to talk about some gun rights, some 2A topics tonight and some other things. But I do want to talk about specifically, folks, if you are supporters of the Second Amendment, I highly recommend that you guys are supporting NAGR, National Association for Gun Rights, Gun Owners of America, and FPC, Firearms Policy Coalition. I can tell you right now, as someone that is a lifetime member that has, the NRA hired me and hired our company to produce curriculum and training. Folks, I feel like that the NRA has let us down really big in the last several years. I think they have
Fair joke.
exactly that, folks. They are not the organization to be sending your money to right now until they get rid of Wayne LaPierre. I think Wayne LaPierre has turned that into more of a fundraising scheme, and I've seen them do very little in the way of, gun rights advocacy, especially on the legal side. You have all these much smaller organizations that are doing more. And I just think, generally speaking, you're going to get more bang for your buck if you're supporting NAGR, GOA, or FPC. And I have no affiliation with any of those three, other than I would love to have, actually the FPC, folks. If you're not following FPC on X, formerly known as Twitter, hopefully we don't have to say that anymore. Man, those guys bring the fight and they do it unabashedly. And I love everything they do and they say. And they're doing a lot in the way of gun rights legislation and gun rights. So I think any of those three organizations are great. If all do want to one or all four of those organizations, I would love to do more along those lines. And I reached out to FPC about getting somebody on here on a podcast. I think that would be great to get one of their lawyers on here and talk about kind of what's going on with different legislation that's being proposed, things that legislation that they're fighting, and some of the other lawsuits that are being pursued by them and other gun rights organizations that are intended to support and defend our constitutional right in the right to bear arms. Folks, a couple of NRA, not real activists, 100%. And they are a bunch of floods, Jason. I absolutely agree with that. One thing I want to talk about, I think that is a pretty interesting and likely very important national issue that was an Oregon state issue. If you guys aren't aware, Oregon Measure 114, which was legislation that was voted on by Oregonians, called for the ban on the sale, transfer, and manufacture of magazines that hold more than 10 rounds, requires a permit to purchase a gun, and bars a gun sale or gun transfer before a background check is completed, regardless if that is private or business sale, right? So even, private transfers or sales, you had to get a gun transfer and a permit to be able to do that. Measure 114 passed with 50.7% of votes, with voters in six out of Oregon's 36 counties supporting it, mostly from the more populated Democrat urban communities. On November 22nd, 2023, Harney County Circuit Court Judge Robert Raccio ruled that all of Oregon Measure 114 is unconstitutional by the state of Oregon's constitution standards. I think this is a really interesting I think it's a really interesting case that I do think is going to reverberate through the nation as they continue to try to do this. I will say that I read through some of what the Oregon's Constitution is in regards to the protections of firearms and the ownership thereof. And it's not nearly as strongly worded as many of the things that we see in our Constitution, specifically the Second Amendment. So I think this is I think this is kind of a litmus test for what we're going to see nationally. And again, a lot of legal
Really?
scholars online. Huh? Yeah.
Really thinking it is?
What do you mean?
The litmus test for nationally, to roll out nationally.
Yeah. Because the judge found it unconstitutional.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm just trying to reiterate to myself, like, holy crap. Okay.
Yeah, I really do. I think, again,
Okay.
you know, basically the language in their Constitution is not nearly as strong as ours. And there's some more to this. And I think there were some really good arguments on this that we hear very commonly when it comes to the left trying to make an argument against the Second Amendment. So on part of that is the state attorneys called on several witnesses to argue the law made reasonable changes to gun laws, calling on professors from the University of California, Berkeley, Southern Oregon University to testify that firearms available in the U.S. and Oregon during the 1850s, which is when the Oregon Constitution was passed, were most commonly single-shot, smoothbore flintlocks, shotguns, Colt revolvers, and pepper box handguns, and not firearms holding more than 10 rounds. And this is something we constantly see. That's an argument being used is, you know what, the Second Amendment wasn't passed to basically, their verbiage would be assault rifle to, you know, that our founders couldn't have foreseen the advent of the AR-15, the M4, or any. First of all, that's not true. First of all, we know that during that time, there were already automatic rifles that were being produced during that time.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, this is based on just silliness. Not everybody was running around with just a flintlock. And, you know, really, one of the things I hate, folks, I hate that when we as 2A advocates, and this comes from the NRA, and this is where I have a lot of angst against the NRA. I remember that during the 80s, the NRA was on TV, and I remember as a kid not knowing the first thing about Second Amendment, gun rights, or anything else, but I remember commercials in the 80s where the NRA said that it was actually during the Charleston Heston thing where, you know, from my cold dead hands. But one of the things they talked about specifically was that, you know, they're not going to take our right away to hunt. They had, for a long time, the NRA was framing the Second Amendment as a right to hunt. And it was not specifically against being armed against a tyrannical government, whether that be our own government or a foreign government, and or for self-defense. They originally framed that, and that was later used against us and still being used against us by morons like President Biden talking about, hey, you don't need, you know, 30-round magazine to, you know, kill a deer.
Maybe I'm a bad shot.
The other thing that they talked about that I have always hated that the NRA started, pretty much every idea that the NRA comes up with when it comes to the semantic game is a terrible one. And one of the things that they brought about was the sporting rifle. Folks, the AR-15 is not a sporting rifle. You can call it an assault weapon if you want. I'm fine with that, actually. What it is a fighting rifle for sure. And we have the absolute right to own a fighting rifle. As a matter of fact, when the Second Amendment was passed, every single one of those rifles were weapons of war. You can call it that, you can call it whatever you want. But what our founders intended was the very fact that we were given the best ability to defend against ourselves, be able to defend ourselves against a government. And if we have a government that is allowed to always have firearms that are going to outgun the populace, we no longer have a government of, for, and by the people. And that's really what it comes down to. I've always believed that the Second Amendment is absolutely the most important right that we have, because it's the only right that allows us to defend every single other one against the government. So again, I always, folks, don't play the semantic game. You know, I hate that. Don't say that it's a sporting rifle. Don't say that. I'm fine with you calling it an assault rifle. I don't care. You can call it an assault rifle. The fact is, you're not getting in it. The fact is, the Second Amendment protects me. This is what it is. And by the way, this is a God-given right that was outlined and enumerated in our Constitution. It is not a right that is granted to us by the government. It is a right that we own, and the government does not have the authority to take that away from us to begin with. So,
essentially,
I digress.
That's a perfect way to put it. If you think about that, when it was written, and when that amendment was written, everybody had equal firearms then.
Absolutely.
The government didn't have anything different than John Smith down on his ranch. It was
and
exactly
as a matter of fact, the only where you could even start to make any sort of kind of differentiate between government and what the average person has, you can start getting into artillery. But artillery was absolutely legal to own by U.S. citizens. And as a matter of fact, many of the artillery pieces used in the Revolutionary War were personally owned by many people that were participating in the Revolution.
That's a cool fact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it has we have gotten so far away from that. And do I need to own an automatic firearm? I would love to.
You should.
I would love to. Should I have one? I think so, because my government that protects us, they have them.
Well, 100%. And
But the hoops I'd have to jump through to get.
That even goes back. Well, that even goes back to the NFA, folks. The NFA, which was passed in 1935. Prior to that, there was no major federal firearms, gun control laws whatsoever, as it should never have been to begin with. And the NFA being wholly unconstitutional in my first of all, folks, I need to go ahead and declare this. I'm not a lawyer. Do not take anything that I say as legal advice. I'm not even smart. All right. I'm a dumb knuckle dragger. You shouldn't listen to anything I say, especially shouldn't go to court saying, well, Gary said, all right. Not a good policy. With that being said, folks, I do think the NFA is wholly unconstitutional. And why was the NFA passed? The NFA was passed in the same way that a lot of laws have been passed in the last several years when it came to COVID and things that the government would normally not get away with. They, really exploited the fact that they had a problem that they created due to, what was the ban on alcohol called?
Prohibition.
Prohibition, right? So they created prohibition. They created all this organized crime, and these guys are running around with Tommy guns, and they blasted that threat on the television and radio. Did they have television in 1935? I don't know, but they definitely had radio, and they made people afraid.
They had pictures in the
paper. of a very small problem that was not a personal threat.
Correct.
But they made people believe that it was a personal threat to their own safety and their security and their family safety and security. And through fear and fear alone, they were able to pass the NFA. That's what they wanted to do.
So like Tommy guns, BARs, and I forget the other one that was widely used then. But a small thing in highly populated areas. Some outliers on that, but
and we also know how ridiculous it is that we have to that suppressors fall under the NFA. Absolutely nonsense, right?
Defund the ATF.
Even in Europe, folks, the Europeans, you can go in and buy a suppressor and walk out in most European countries. It is not even a big deal. They think it's stupid that we as Americans
doesn't even fire anything.
And I want to be clear. Not that Europe is a benchmark for anything. They can.
I don't know.
They can go GFYS. All right. Anyways, so going back to this issue in Oregon and the Measure 114. So, the state's attorneys basically said, hey, folks, you know what? When we made the Constitution, there's no way that they could have, taken this into account. But we had testimony from former Cody Firearms Museum curator Ashley Lebinsky to find Oregon Constitutional Convention delegates and those voting for Constitution would have been generally aware of firearms development and multi-shot technology, and that the highest level of gun development had been introduced in the state at the time. Oregonians of 1857 were reliant on firearms and were not seeking to restrain access to the best firearms with the highest functionality possible they could procure. So when in writing, Oregon's right to bear arms in Article 1, Section 27 of the state constitution. I thought this was pretty great. Additional persuasive testimony that the judge actually said he found this very persuasive was that two sheriffs of the Oregon State Police Superintendent testified for the plaintiffs about the importance of high-capacity magazines over the objection of the state's attorney, who argued their testimony was irrelevant. Sheriff Cody Bowen and Harney County Sheriff Dan Jenkins both said their jurisdictions cover large geographical areas where response times can be lengthy. In his decision, Machio said Bowen demonstrated definitive law enforcement respond quickly to their needs if they are subject to or deadly physical harm. Victims can be led by law enforcement response for hours. You know, that really comes back down to the basis of Second Amendment outside of protecting against a government, whether that be an invading government or our own government, is the fact that we are supposed to be Americans. We are supposed to be self-sufficient, self-reliant, and we know that law enforcement cannot be all places at all times. And that we need to be able to be responsible for our own personal safety and the safety of our families, which is why every American, every good American should not only own firearms, but they should also train and make sure that they are proficient in those firearms.
Ding.
So, you know, I think this is a really great case, and it really does kind of sum up the conversation or the arguments that have been being had over the last several years when it comes to, you know, 2A rights versus the main arguments that we've seen against the rights. You know, number one, the 2A, the Second Amendment only covered muskets. Nonsense, you're stupid, shut up. Number two, the fact of the matter is that law enforcement not only has no duty to necessarily even protect us, but they just they can't, there's no way they could possibly can protect everybody at all times.
No.
So
that's even local.
We need to make sure
here
that we have the rights to bear arms. And there again, we need to have, you know, magazine capacity has nothing to do with
anything.
Anything. Absolutely nothing.
Say that. Anything.
I'm sure I've missed a lot of, sure I have missed a lot of comments up here.
JB Me was saying something I saw.
Sean, if you go through there.
You scroll back up a little bit, JB Me was correcting you. I don't know if you know him or not.
JB Me.
He was saying, talking about NFA's a tax law.
It is a tax law.
Yeah.
Yep. It is a tax law. Okay. But it still regulates, the NFA still regulates suppressors, short-barreled rifles, and or automatic firearms. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter.
And he wanted to correct you. He hates guns.
To be fair, pistol braces are 100% a way to SBR. Now, having to stamp an SBR is bullshit and don't like it. But yeah, we all got braces to have SBR and no stamp. Absolutely, we did.
Right.
And we're going to get to that that entire case here in just a second. What else? Any other? All right. So now let's talk about the developments we've seen with the final ruling, the ATF's final rule on pistol braces and what we got going on with this. I'm sure most of you know what's going on with this, but I want to talk about some specifics that you may or may not know. So first of all, we had two major cases that essentially ended for now. They are preliminary injunctions against the pistol brace ruling. We have Brito v. ATF, and then we have Mock v. Garland, which challenged the ATF's final rule on pistol braces. Ultimately, though, what matters to all of us nationally is that Judge Kazmarek issued a nationwide injunction on November 8th on that. The ATF has appealed both the Mock v. Garland and the Brito versus ATF through the Fifth Circuit, and they will likely go to the Supreme Court where a final decision is going to end up being made. Yeah, and basically they're going to end up ruling whether or not, which Kazmarek said they were, essentially what he said was, look, he supports the idea of the ATF trying to make people safe, but they have to do it legally. And they said this ruling was not legal in any form. But basically, you know, ultimately it's going to be the Supreme Court that's going to decide whether or not the ATF abused their authority and has, in essence, legislated through a bureaucratic fiat. I think we all agree that's essentially what they did. Regardless of how you feel of whether or not the pistol braces in general are a workaround the NFA. I'm not going to say one way or the other.
Nope.
I agree to that to some extent, but at the end of the day, that is a rule that shouldn't exist. And what we do have is we have a fact that the ATF said that pistol braces were absolutely fine. Everybody went and bought them, used them after that that ruling essentially for a long time, and then we get Biden in the office with his activists in the justice system to include the ATF, and of course they changed that ruling altogether.
I saw he got ice cream the other day.
He did get ice cream. I saw him licking a window the other day.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go against that. You
Now-
might have seen that.
One thing that I think people are, because I get a lot of questions on this, both Summer and I via email, via phone call, and things like that. One thing you guys do need to know is that currently pistol braces are indeed legal. You can buy them, you can own them. Just everything is as it was before the final ruling.
use them.
Now that could change. Yes, you can use them. That could change with a Supreme Court ruling. I'll be honest with you, I do not know how that is going to go.
Finna find out.
Yeah. Now, here's a problem that I don't think most people understand, that even if that remains true, right? So let's say the Supreme Court decides to rule in our favor, right? They say, hey, you know what? The ATF superseded their authority. For those of you that registered your rifle as an SBR, short of any sort of additional rulings, there's no going back on that. Yeah. And you do need to realize that if you have an SBR, you do need ATF approval to cross state lines. So just be aware of that. Now, I would imagine that and again, this is, I'm not a legal scholar. I know that's going to shock most of you, but I would imagine that for the people that did register their guns as SBR, their rifles as SBRs, I think somebody out there is going to end up bringing a case against them if they basically did that under duress or something along those lines.
Yeah.
I don't know if that will hold, but I do think even that will be challenged.
So since that's an NFA item,
Yep.
do you have to do that with a suppressor too?
Do you have to what?
Do I have to notify the ATF and get approval to carry a
Not with a
suppressor?
suppressor. No.
Why?
They're just considered different items. There's different rules for different items.
So I have to get in contact if I'm going to go.
You have to file a form with the ATF. I'm sure some of you know what that form is. I know Summer does. I don't really even pay attention to any of that
you
stuff.
literally have to do paperwork and have that in your truck with you if you
Yes.
got your SBR
Yes.
cased in the trunk.
Yes, and you have to make sure, number one, it's a state that even allows
An SBR.
SBRs, and then on top of that, you have to file paperwork saying that you basically have to get permission to do that. Now, there's some things that you can do there. You can basically do a year's worth, I think, or 6 months. I don't know how it works. I don't remember. I don't know.
I don't want you to
specifics
get
of it.
into it, but that just blew my mind.
Yep,
I did not
that's
know
a true
that.
story.
Well,
That's a true story.
whoops.
So
I've never done that.
We are definitely making. Can an SBR go across state lines with a 16-inch upper? No, technically not. Technically, that
it's
is
registered. Yeah.
that. You know what? I'm not going to say one way or the other. Again, Summer and one of our
So what he's saying is he registered as an SBR still at a 16, so he can have pistol brace on. That's what he's saying. Because otherwise, why would you even have that listed
I'm
as
sorry.
SBR?
No, he's saying what I think he's saying is if you have an SBR upper and you take that off and,
And then throw a 16
put
on
a
it.
16-inch upper on there. I don't know. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know. That's a great question.
Yeah, because why would they question it at that point? And stuff like that. If they would open the case and look at it. We're not lawyers.
I'm not sure.
Gary's a lawyer. I'm not.
I'm not a lawyer. Short barrels make guns less lethal because less velocity anyway. Well, that's true, but their argument is going to be that it's more concealable. That's the issue. Throw the comment back up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
One, Jason. Good thing is that now it's SBR. You can put a normal stock on it and not a brace. Absolutely, that is
revert.
You can definitely do that. Throw up McSpooks up there. Yeah, there is a point at which you give it velocity carry, kind of a snub-nosed revolver. Yeah, but honestly, folks, so one of the things when I was going to Iraq in 2008, prior to that, I got a 6-inch upper that I was going to use as a truck gun.
There you go. Read
During
comment.
that deployment, as well as a CQB gun. And I brought that. And then when I got into country, like my entire team was like, oh my God, Gary, that thing, you're not gonna be able to shoot, whatever. I'm like, first of all, you do give up velocity. There's no doubt about it. But we went to the range like a couple days after we got to Iraq during that deployment, and we were shooting out to like 450 yards, and I was pinging still at 450 yards. You can absolutely engage. And again, what you end up losing, I think the last time that I actually did a velocity on that, I think I was losing somewhere around 12 or 15 feet per second per inch compared to my 16-inch rifle. It's not nearly, I was always
big of a drop.
I was always told, you're going to lose about 50 feet per second per inch. It's nowhere near that. That's a terrible rule of thumb. I haven't seen that work well under any caliber, much less with 223. So yeah, sure. You're going to lose some velocity. Your hold offs are going to be different if you're shooting a distance, but at the same time, it's still a lot more lethal it's still got a lot more velocity, and it got a lot more muzzle energy than any revolver or any pistol for that matter. So,
or a pepper box.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
You mentioned that earlier. Pepper box handguns.
Yeah.
Oregon talked about it.
Yeah. What else? 5.56 bleed velocity like a stuck. It's not that big. It's not that, like I said, you're looking at around 15 feet per second per inch. I just recently, it was probably about 4 or 5 months ago, was testing that again. And it is a big, right? It's still a lot, but at the same time, it's not as big a deal as most people say. So you're still getting plenty of velocity, whether it's a 10-inch, and it's definitely not that big of a difference between a 10-inch versus 16-inch. There's still, it's still nice to have a 6-inch upper or a 10-inch upper,
yeah.
Especially when you're doing CQB or you got a truck in a
rifle
in a vehicle. Yeah. Absolutely.
I'd much rather have that than whipping our 16 around.
Absolutely. What other comments up there?
Oh, somebody brought up something on. If you want to talk about that now, or you want to talk about that later, on Rumble.
What's that? What do we got here?
Will Rhett said something on Rumble about you.
Yeah, folks.
I don't know if you want to wait till later or not.
I was talking to Summer about this, and I always feel weird about it. First of all, I want to thank everybody out there that nominated me for the Gundies as Instructor of the Year. That is super cool. I really appreciate that. I like it a lot. I still feel weird about it. With that being said, again, you might as well go vote for us. If you already voted for us, continue to vote. Might as well win, right? But it's a really big honor, and it's because of you guys. That is not something that I advocate for throughout the year. But again, somebody did mention it on one of the other on Rumble. So if you guys want to continue to vote for us on that, we really appreciate that. And I don't know. Again, it's one of those weird things.
They picked a good picture of you showing your abs off.
Yeah, man. Freaking, there you go.
Damn.
Go vote. Cool.
Did you all see the picture? Y'all have to make sure you go vote now. Gary's pulled his shirt up and everything.
Somebody pulled that picture. I don't even know where they got that picture. It's on our website.
I'm sure.
But anyways, yeah, go vote for that. Thank you guys.
Your arms look big in that picture too.
Big honor. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you. Jonathan Cook says, just sub to the channel after watching the Mill Clinic Gary put on. Purchase some gear to support. Is the live stream available anywhere other than the evil YouTube? Want to do the right thing? Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. It is over on Rumble as well. It's a little clunky for whatever reason. We have this streaming through StreamYard, so it streams simultaneously to YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. With that being said, for whatever reason, we get the comments showing up from Facebook and YouTube. Right now, Rumble,
I have to hold it up.
We have to basically do that manually. So
that sucks.
It is what it is. And we appreciate you guys. I appreciate everybody that is, YouTube is not a friend of the Second Amendment. I always say this. I say it in our videos. I can't stress it enough. Folks, they absolutely censor, crush the Second Amendment and just 2A content in general. And it's the other part of this is that they really are to some extent, especially the smaller channels like ours, by the way, we just hit 40,000 subscribers,
go
which,
ahead.
that's also really cool. That's not something I thought we were going to,
That's badass.
I could have imagined doing when we started this channel. So that's really cool. But with that being said, small channels like us, they are exploiting because they're demonetizing most of those videos, but I still see ads on the demonetized videos, and they're still getting that content out there, which again helps promote YouTube in general. And then they're just not paying us. Not that we make, I'll show you exactly what we make, which by the way, we had a big month this month. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead, and I'm not talking monetary wise because I couldn't care less about that. But I will share with you exactly our analytics. If my phone will pull up here. All right. So right now, when this updates, come on, we got West Virginia internet here.
Get that hamster running faster.
All right. So we got 41,000, probably around 41,050 subscribers. We had 173,000 views this month. There was over 21,000 watch hours this month in this channel. We have 2.6 thousand new subscribers this month alone in the last 28 days. Sheesh. And as far as the revenue, folks, we made a whopping 1.1 thousand, which is, I think, the most we've ever made on YouTube. But it is, $1,000 for the month. So, I'm not sending my kids to college on that. And it doesn't, if I was just trying to do YouTube to make money,
that's my salary a month.
With that being said, given those views and the amount of subscribers and things we have, there's much smaller channels that are that get less views that make significant, and I know them, by the way. I've talked to people and I've compared these things. People that are on YouTube, they're making a lot more money with less views, because when I talk to them and I'm like, hey, this is, and I show them, they're like, dude, you should be making like 4 times that. And again, I'm not worried about the money on YouTube. The thing that pisses me off is that we put the time and effort that we do into all of this to create content, and then they crush us in the algorithm. That's what pisses me off. I would donate. Hey, stop crushing us. I would donate every bit of the money back to YouTube. Not that they care about $1,000 in a month, but I would be fine not making any money. Just let go of us when it comes to the algorithm and promoting our content.
Well, I've noticed even when I share it. I share the show every Wednesday, or if you send the thumbnail on Tuesday, I share it. Literally, I can post a picture of, let's just say, a freaking pine tree, and I'll have 10 or 15 of my friends on Facebook like it. Yeah. I will post the show, and it's like one person, and it's somebody that's watching it that knows to come on to like it.
And I'm assuming you're sharing that on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right to my Facebook feed, and then I tag Paramount in it. And I'll get 1 like in like 24 hours. I'm like, so they're just smashing
Facebook's
it down.
a different animal altogether. So just
absolutely. So but we're streaming on there right now.
Just a couple years ago, for instance, going back to about 20, it was around when Trump was running. So I want to say 2015, maybe mid 2016. Folks, we had, I don't know, like 5,000 or 6,000 likes or subscribers, whatever you want to call them, on Facebook. And I could post anything, a picture, just, hey guys, how's everybody doing? And we would hit 40, 50,000 views and a bunch of likes on everything that we regularly monthly had posts that would go over 100,000. We had several posts on Facebook that went over 1 million. I remember there was a new terms and conditions that came out, something along those lines. I saw you
talk about that
in Facebook, and they were like, hey, we're changing the way that we do things. Make sure that you agree, or whatever it was, right? Folks, from there, like that was 3 years ago, we probably get like 30 or 40 views on our post now on Facebook. When again, we were getting 10 times that. And we even have a lot more subscribers, and people tell me on Facebook, like, Gary, I don't see your content. I've subscribed and made sure that you're feeding. As a matter of fact, if you're not a Facebook, this is funny. If you're not on our Facebook right now, go like the Facebook page or try to message us on Facebook, and it will tell you, are you sure you want to do this? These people have broken the community guidelines. Are you basically, do you sure you want to associate yourself with these people? It's kind of funny. People have screenshotted that and sent to me. I thought it's great. And then they do the same thing on Instagram too, because it's all meta. What else we got up there? Yeah, that West Virginia internet is bad. What else we got? Facebook is terrible. I'm an ad. Yep, we got Willie Everett. He's one of our admins, and he doesn't even see most of the posts. It is what
didn't
it is.
even know.
It is our. I mean, you know, that's the operational environment that we're dealing with. Hopefully, we'll get some. Man, wouldn't it be cool if Elon Musk takes over, you know, Meta as well?
Okay, Spook, you're saying with all these subscribers, you think you can afford the fiber internet. Fiber internet does not come into the holler that we're at. We were lucky to have Daddy Elon finally show up and say, hey, your stuff's here. Ooh, I like that ghost effect.
What do we got going on?
Look
here?
at that.
What are you holding down 2 buttons back there, Sean?
No, we were lucky enough to get Elon to say, hey, we're ready to rock on this. And it is good. I mean, all you all out there, I'm sure, running cable internet and stuff like that. We were on 12 meg download speeds at the best before.
Were you on HughesNet before?
Oh, bro, yeah, for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it was like
2 weeks?
1.6 meg down.
Oh no, I was on HughesNet for like 2 years.
Oh my God. No,
So,
I had it.
folks,
I couldn't even do anything.
Internet was not even available out here until HughesNet, which is satellite.
Yeah.
We finally got a satellite.
It's freaking terrible.
And I want to say it was like $250 a month, and we got like 20 gigs a month.
It was
And
outrageous.
It was super slow. It was very expensive. And then we finally got Starlink, which is like 5 times faster. And it's still not obviously like a normal
No, I'm
cable
pulling
internet.
like, well, for me now, I'm pulling like 120 on the reg, 120 down, maybe 20 up, which is
Yeah, that sounds about right.
10 times more than I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
And it's what, 110, 120 a month?
Something like that.
Yeah, for unlimited too.
And then you got to pay $500 for the
for the equipment, but I'm cool with that because it's solid internet.
And I still don't think this area is getting full bandwidth.
No, and it's set. If you go and look, you have to dig deep. He still needs to get more satellites up to hit this area as good. But I mean, you all out there are getting
by far the best option.
I'm sure there's plenty of people getting a gig out there. Yeah. We're happy with like 120 down.
Buddy D, thoughts on Delta 5 Pro? Buddy D, I have a whole video on that, so you can go check that out. I mean, if you just want my initial thought, it's a great gun. I think it's the best production gun out there. What I think that is a significantly better gun for the exact same price and even less in some instances is the MPA PMR Pro 2. But I think the Delta 5 Pro is a great gun, but I do think that all things, I mean the PMR Pro 2 is about $2,500. I have the Delta 5 Pro, is it up there? I can't tell. Yeah, it's up there. No, that's the no, I have the Delta 5 Pro in a case over there. It's usually up there, but I just changed some things up the other day. Excellent gun. If the Delta 5 Pro is an excellent gun for $2,500. The MPA is an excellent gun for $3,500. I'm just being objective and as honest as I possibly can be on this. I'm just telling you what God knows. The MPA is a really good gun for $3,500, but it happens to cost you $2,500. It is a handmade. It is built just like a custom rifle. You have a barrel that is hand lapped. You have it. The entire thing is Sheffield air gauges down to 1,000. I mean, the QC and everything that goes into an MPA. The fact that you can get an MPA PMR Pro 2 for $2,500 is mind blowing, folks. It absolutely is. So.
And the owner of the company.
You can't go wrong with the Delta 5 Pro. I think the only where that you're going wrong is you can get a lot more rifle for your money by buying an MPA. That's where I'm at. Gary, when is the next release of the Zero compromise review? Looks like you seem yes. All right, so I was planning on having part 2 actually posted this morning before I wanted to release it before the live stream tonight. I made some changes, added some things. I did some more filming yesterday. I'm probably going to post that Saturday or Sunday for part 2. And I'm just going to go ahead and just make it to where I'm posting part 3, probably the following Sunday, maybe midweek, maybe even midweek. There was a couple of testing criteria that I kind of given up on trying to get through. And I'll talk about it in the review, folks, but the ocular lens on the back of this is about 2 millimeters larger than the Night Force Attacker. So the ocular lens back here, this ocular housing is about 2 millimeters larger. I could not get what I was using was the Trigger Cam 2.0, which has much higher definition. There's a lot better things going on than with the Tacticam. When I was doing the illumination test the other day, I was able to I was going back and forth between, let me back up. All through this testing, I had written off the Tacticam as an option at all because the Trigger Cam 2.0 is so much better. And then I wanted to make sure that I got footage through this for the illuminated reticle. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and try the Tacticam. And I was able to get the Tacticam on there for that. And then also I hadn't shot a tracking test through that because I wasn't able to basically for the trigger cam, which is much better, to get it on here. I had to hold this thing on the back of here and like to be able to hold it and keep it in alignment and then actually do a track was absolutely impossible. So long story short, once I was able to get that illumination test done, I was like, you know what? There's no reason that I shouldn't do a tracking test. So I shot some additional footage that I'm just now inputting. So long story short, Sunday. There you go. Sunday. Where are we at?
It's a nice scope.
Dude, that thing is pretty tits. I like it. What else? Any other questions on that?
No, I think that's about it for the
All
questions.
right. So here's what I'm curious about. Number one, I
you
forgot to
three?
mention, I'm really sad Summer's not here. But now I can talk smack to her since she's looking down from, down on us from above. She's actually she's at a concert tonight with Jackson. What'd you say?
You hit number 3?
Did I hit number 3? What was number 3?
You skipped over it. Turn back a page.
Oh, did I have number 3? Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to bring up next.
All right, cool.
All right.
Because I want to hear about this. I want people to join in.
I am as well. Folks, we got a lot of crazy things going on in this country. I'm curious to what you guys' thoughts are when it comes to what you think is going to happen for the 2020, not just the 2024 election, but the run up to it, man. I mean, we're in pretty cool, exciting times as far as I'm concerned.
It's almost
I'm
Christmas.
curious to what you guys think. Do you think Biden is going to be the nominee? And if not, number one, why won't he be? And, if that's a natural death type of thing, which is obviously
Jeez, you
a
went
very
straight to
possible
that.
thing,
I just
right?
I mean,
he's
incompetence first, and then you went straight to natural death.
I mean, the guy can barely
I mean,
walk, talk, or anything else.
Epstein didn't hang himself either.
It really is a lot like, a weekend at Bernie's with that guy at this point.
Dude, the video I saw when I was talking about him getting ice cream or whatever it was, Massachusetts, he should have had a walker.
Oh, man.
I mean,
Did
he
you
was
see
like,
him shuffling
he was
around?
like shuffling, and he was like looking at his ice cream, make sure he didn't drop it.
I
was
saw
like, what?
I saw a video.
This is the president of the most quote unquote powerful country in the world, and he's like, I got my ice cream.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, man.
He's wearing a suit, but in your mind, you're looking at like a house robe and
Oh,
slippers.
bro, I don't
Like,
even know if
that's-
it's that much. It's like basketball shorts and a wife beater,
Oh,
and he's
man.
just shuffling around.
He just recently they showed. I saw a video, and the guy was making this point on this, but they showed a video of Trump going out on a football field, a recent appearance, and then juxtaposed to Biden
to JoJo.
shuffling down the street talking to people. It's
He was
pretty
walking
pathetic.
down cobblestone, so
There
I
is
give
a
him that.
There is a big difference between those two men, regardless of
Jeez.
their age.
Are
So
they
I'm
close
curious
in
to see
age?
what
I don't know what's how old is Biden?
82. I think he just turned 82.
And what's
either
Trump?
82 or 81.
Mid 70s.
He just had a birthday.
72,
77.
73. He's 77.
Yeah,
huh?
Trump's 77.
Wow. So there's
77,
not
bro.
that big of a gap as I thought.
No, there's 4 years. Biden's 4 years older than Trump.
So literally me to you. It's 4 years. I mean,
Yeah.
that's asinine.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I am curious what you guys think. Number one,
Hillary 2024.
is Biden running? If he doesn't run, who's running? And what do you guys see playing out at the DNC convention? I'm very curious to see what that. I'm still curious to see what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is going to do to upset this whole thing. I find that guy pretty fascinating. I like a lot. I would never want him to be president, but he's a lot fun to listen to, except for his voice is a little hard to listen to. But what he has to say, context-wise, as far as substance-wise, he says a lot of interesting things. I've been listening to him on lots of different podcasts. John Hoban says, it will be Biden. He's never done anything for anyone else. He's not going to start now. If somehow he gets ousted, then watch out for Newsom. He's worse. He's just as dumb, and he's vocally capable. I don't disagree with you, John. I don't think we've had a Joseph Biden making any decisions in that White House for a really long time. to be
No,
honest with
hell
you.
no.
So I would agree with you if he had any sort of faculties and he was in command of those faculties and he was actually making decisions. But that's my thing, folks, is I think that there's a lot of people around him that are seeing that he is a political liability, and I think they're going to end up. I think something's going to happen on that front.
I like Brent Phillips.
What do you say?
Comment. You say,
Brent Phillips comment right
he
there.
says Biden's like to call Family Guy.
All
You got
Biden
any
needs is a whistle.
popsicles? I mean, that's a damn close,
I'm pretty sure they modeled that
get your ass
that
in here.
character off of Biden, sniffing every little kid's hair. Come here, you.
Come here. I
Um,
got popsicles in the basement. Oh man.
This one's a little bit off topic, but
that's
it's
all
a good
right.
question.
I'm just starting to learn longer distance shooting is level 1 training. You guys are offering good for some. Absolutely,
Oh yeah.
folks. I'm sure most of you know, but again, for people tuning in later on, and we have obviously some new watchers out there. Number one, long range level 1. We got a video on it. I talk about everything that we're going to be covering with the XP Long Range Academy that we are doing with Ray Helms of X-Ring. If you are a new shooter, if you are a seasoned shooter, if you are just curious about long range, if you've never even done long range, but you think you just like to go have fun for a weekend, folks, go sign up for our courses. Those are filling up very quickly. We don't want you to go out and spend a bunch of money and buy the wrong stuff. So we are providing student guns. With that being said, if you already do have your own equipment, you can bring it. Again, we do have testing criteria that you're going to have to pass, right? But that's not till the end. And you're going to be able to, if your equipment allows you. But I'm telling you right now, if you guys show up with, optics, or you show up with rifles, what'd you do here? You're going to put, there we go. If you show up with rifles that are shooting, greater than 1.5 MOA, you're going to have a hard time passing. With that being said, even if you, for some reason, you don't pass the standards, we are going to give you a certificate of completion. You just won't get a full graduation certificate.
So don't bring my 22 mag if I come.
Don't bring your 22 mag. We got excellent guns that we're going to
I was trying to shoot out
rent to you. We want to set you up for success, and we want to make sure that you have a good experience. That's what that's about. Also, if you don't want to travel with your guns and gear, again, we have, we'll provide that. But definitely go check out.
Over there.
Matter of fact, I'm going to put the link up there in the comments to the latest video on that. But absolutely, if you we forgot to put the battery pack on that camera, so it died.
I even asked.
I know. Well, you should have been doing. I was over here fixing it.
You want to put one on it?
It wasn't my fault.
No, it wasn't your fault, Sean. It was Chris's fault, 100%. Like reminding me is enough.
Literally, you're like, yeah, you're right. I got to put a battery.
Anyways,
on
I'm gonna put it. I'll put the link up there. I also put. Matter of fact, I think the link is in the description of this video too. So go sign up for that. Bring your friends and family. Come train with Ray and I. I promise you. The cost of that course, which by the way is $1,800 a course. But folks, I'm telling you right now, that's going to be one of the best investments, and it will save you so much time, money, energy. As opposed to wasting time, money, and energy as far as wasting ammo, buying gear that's wrong. And we will get you so much further ahead in your long range understanding, knowledge, skills, and abilities that I'm telling you, they will be an investment that you really, really will appreciate. And again, it's the quickest way to get to where you want to be as far as your overall performance. So no, you don't have to be a seasoned shooter or anything else. I don't care if you've never touched a long range gun. As a matter of fact, chances are the less experience you have, the less bad habits you're going to have, and probably the more that you're going to excel at the skill overall. So check that out. What else? Crap, that was my last beer.
I got him.
Gary, can you mention briefly about
Ooh, that's a good point.
tighten the mounts on the scope?
Over tightening the mounts on the scope.
Yeah, don't over tighten the mounts on the scope.
No, there should be a recommendation on it of inch pounds.
Yeah, so
That's huge.
your scope,
Because
your optic,
I have a unit gun at
and
home.
your rings are going to have limits on what you should tighten those rings and or the mount, however you got going on right there, your top caps. Go with the lowest, whatever is the lowest out of those, go with that, and make sure you do it correctly. Again, I got a whole scope mounting video on that.
And use Vibrotite on them too.
And use Vibrotite on
because they will come loose.
They will. What
You're
else?
Like, why am I not hitting shit? Oh, I got 3 out of the 4 bolts loose.
McSpook says, honestly, I wish when I started this game, classes like this existed for civilians. Absolutely. I'm telling you, folks, you know, so many, you are not going to learn long range well doing YouTube. I mean, you just looking on YouTube, you can only learn so much on there. A lot of what it is broken up, and you're learning like advanced stuff. And that's the thing too, folks, like people are lacking a foundation of knowledge, information, and understanding with long range, and they're going, it's like if you could learn jujitsu on YouTube, right? Would anyone go through and watch the
That's a perfect way to
the
do
white
it.
belt videos? No. They want to go right to the black belt
Right.
videos.
Ray just said zing.
Ray's there. Stay out of this, Ray. It's not your business.
He said, sure you can.
Well, you know, he's Asian. He can learn any martial arts on YouTube. He just looks at it, pulls up a file in his Asian brain and gets after it.
So racist.
He is my he's a ninja Billy, I'm telling you. So anyways, folks, you know, that's the thing is so many people, they want to go right to these advanced videos and skill sets and things like that, where you're not learning things in the order that it should be learned, it should be taught, to make sure that you have a good foundation, understanding of what you should be doing at the basic level, at understanding what good gear is, how to set that gear up properly. There's just so much. And, you know, one of the things that Ray and I really was it was important to both of us was making sure that we had a small student to instructor ratio. We're going to assign 4 students to 1 instructor. You guys are going to be over there. You're going to be getting one-on-one with that instructor all throughout. And I think what we're going to do, we're still playing around with this, is we have a 3-day course. We will have 3 instructors with 4 students each. I think it would be really good to rotate those on a daily basis.
That's good. Yeah.
You know, there's just, again, when you work with one instructor, it's great. And then, you know, you might be having a problem with something that one instructor is trying to work through. And then you'll have another instructor that just says pretty much the same thing in a different way. And it resonates in a way that, you know, jogs some things loose, and you kind of have that light bulb moment. So I think it might be good to get experience with all 3 instructors.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want you to be my instructor.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't want you to be my student. As a matter of fact, if you come to a course, I'm not even letting you in. So, so there's that.
All right. Thanks. I'll just stay home.
I'm just letting you know.
Hey Ray, I'm gonna need you.
What else we got going on here? Howdy, Ray. Can't wait to train with you in May. Yeah, it's going to be a good time, folks. Crawl, walk, run, I believe is the cadence. That's exactly right.
I'm with you, Spook.
Everybody wants to run. I couldn't have Gary as instructor. Too much hate in my heart for him right now.
Samesies, Spook. F that guy.
I call Gary. No offense, Ray. That's all right. I love it, Jason. You're my boy, Blue. You're my boy. And yeah, look, Jeff, just because MOA sucks, I know like many people that thumbnail hurts you right in the feels, and I get it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you in the feelings.
Snowflakes melting.
And you know, look, folks, I'll tell you right now.
Tell me.
MOA, there's nothing wrong with MOA. MOA is great for a lot of disciplines that completely remove all reality for shooting. You know, if you if you are shooting one target,
He's going to report you again.
at one distance on a manicured range that is paved with range flags, MOA is a great choice. But the moment that you start shooting multiple targets at multiple distances and having a target transition, all these other things like that, MOA goes out the window and everybody switches the middle. It's just a natural evolution. It just is. And that's okay. And that's okay if you're still on, you know, the ladder. It's okay.
I like that there's an MOA scope right there too.
There is an MOA scope right there.
With the
It's
big ass sticker on it. you can see the sticker hanging off of the
I
edge
got
right
plenty
there.
more MOA content coming too. MOA sucks content coming. But no, look, folks, at the end of the day, all the MOA sucks stuff, that's in jest. Look, I love you guys. If you shoot, I don't care what you shoot, how you shoot. I have extreme respect for all those disciplines out there. You know, whether you're a F-class shooter, bench rest, there's so much that goes into that. And again, I kind of look at this as, you know, Army versus Navy versus, you know,
Yeah, I mean,
the
yeah,
shit that we
'cause-
give each
yeah,
other on
because,
that.
I
This
mean,
is it's meant to be
like-
a thing of camaraderie and a little shit talking. I do believe it. I do believe MOA sucks. But with that being said, I don't believe you suck because you shoot MOA. I love you. You're a shooter. And anybody out there
It
that
just
shoots
goes
MOA.
further. So you say like Army's MIL, Navy's MOA, because no kids ever went out and played Navy when they were, you know, children.
I mean,
I didn't go out in the woods
yeah.
and played Navy.
I was gonna say Air Force, but I guess we should keep it to actual military branches.
Jesus. I'm glad you didn't go somewhere
what
else.
else we got
I got a
going
call.
on All right. So with that being said, we're going back to politics.
Who's getting
and all the shit talking?
Who's getting the red nomination? You think he's going to have it?
I don't think they have a choice.
I mean, is he going to be available for it?
That's the question. Are they going to be
That's
able
the
to do some? How many of you guys say? How many of you guys say that they will be able to convict and imprison Trump before the election? I'm curious to how many people think that. I don't believe that's going to happen.
See, I think he's going to be on the docket, and then they're going to scramble to get him off of it and just throw
Who's they?
Everybody.
Well, I mean, the RNC,
everybody.
if the RNC wants to ensure that they can't elect a president ever again, go ahead and go after Trump. Because people like myself, I don't care if you like Trump or not. There's lots of folks that are kind of neutral.
Yes.
They would prefer a different candidate over Trump.
Correct.
But
They don't want Biden.
they don't. Well, no. What they don't want is a swamped out RNC determining who's the president in spite of the will of the people.
I'll give you that.
There's a lot of folks out there that personally don't like Trump, but they can separate themselves from their personal feelings, and they would personally rather DeSantis or Ramaswamy or, you know, whoever, right? But they can sit there and say, you know what, the RNC is not being an honest broker in the middle of this, and get really, you know, you start getting a lot of Republicans that just stay home for the next couple of elections,
Yeah, it could get muddy.
or hold the RNC in contempt because of the way that they have treated Trump, which they should at this point already. But, you know, I think the RNC, the Republican National Committee, is definitely doing a lot of things behind the scenes to undermine Trump. I think there's no doubt about that. So it is what it is. Yes, second focal plane does have its place. It's called not on a rifle. Good point, Ray. No, there are some things you can do with second focal plane that are interesting. Chad Wyckoff, he's smart. I think he's holding something back. I'm not sure who we're talking about. I have a buddy who's the most accurate non-military trained shooter that I've ever known. He uses full finger on the trigger. So the tip, as a pro, what is your opinion?
That's called redneck aim right there, baby.
I would say that if the guy is shooting tight groups, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's a backwoods trained
I don't know
feller.
what that, here's the thing, like, ultimately, I don't know what that means. Like, but will he, I don't know what kind of shooter he is. When we start,
is he shooting 1,000? Is he shooting 100? Is he shooting a pistol? Is he shooting a muzzle
F-class?
loader? Yeah.
Is he just, a
There's so many
weekend warrior? All those things, because there are a lot of guys that have trained themselves to shoot in a particular way that if you get them into a non-standard shooting position, or these bad habits that they're actually pulling off really well, start to show up and start to affect them in a negative way, right? So I don't know but there's definitely been some people out there that do some things very unconventionally that after sitting back and assessing them, I'm like, I don't need to fix that because it doesn't make sense. At the end of the day, there's a lot of folks that are, well, let me back up. So first of all, there's these ideologies, right, in shooting. Like for instance, everybody should put the pad of their finger on a trigger. Well, folks, if you have large hands, that's one of the biggest things that I have fixed people with, and it was something that I experienced when I was in SF. I really struggled shooting a pistol. I would sit there. The M9 was my enemy, and I low left. I would dry fire. I did all these things, and I will also say in SF there wasn't too many people that were really good at teaching. They taught what was said in a book, right? And then if you didn't apply that, or if you tried to apply that and it didn't work, the methodology wasn't the problem. You just weren't trying hard enough. And I just recently, about a year ago, had the same talk with a SF captain that was still active duty, and I saw some light bulbs go off in his head. You know, in SF, you don't have guys that don't want to shoot well, right? That's just not a thing. If they're not shooting well, it's not because they suck and they're not trying. It's because what you're teaching them is probably incorrect. So one of the things that I always did, again, you know, this is how you shoot a pistol. You put the pad of your finger on the trigger, and that's how it works. And where did that come from? That came from the NRA, by the way. That came from some guy, hey, this is how I do this, so this works for everybody. Well, folks, if you look at your finger, right, if you are hinging at the knuckle, like there's only one place where you interact with, there's a certain degree there that's going on that if you're interacting with a trigger, there's only one kind of spot on your finger where your finger and that gun interact, where you can pull that trigger straight to the rear.
Mm-hmm.
And let me explain something to you folks. A lot of the times it is not the pad of your fingertip. So for instance, again, one day I was out shooting, just struggling my ass off, shooting thousands of rounds, never feeling like I was getting better with this pistol. And one day my medic, Seth, came up to me. He's like, Gary, he was like, man, you got long fingers, like choke up on that trigger a little bit. I'm like, well, that's wrong. So instead of on the pad, I just brought it a little bit closer to the first knuckle, right? Just that first crease in my finger. And bro, suddenly all of my shots were aligned. It was like this monumental thing. And I see that with students all the time. So, you know, it's little things like that there's this dogma that has been put into place that we don't really even understand why it was there to begin with. We just have regurgitated this nonsense, and this is the right way to do it. Well, tell me why that's the right way to do it. Well, because I don't know. And if you don't know the answer to that, then that's probably wrong, right? So it's little things like that. But what I will say, again, is, you know, sometimes you got to assess people, see what's going on, and just look to see if the principles, not specific things, are they hitting the target? Are they able to, you know, body position, sight alignment, sight picture, breathing, trigger squeeze, follow through? Are they able to manage recoil? Are they able to get follow-up shots? Is there something they're doing physically that's not allowing them to do that? And is there something that you can improve based on their physiology and what they're able to do to be able to manage recoil better, or to be able to squeeze the trigger straight to the rear? Those are all things that we got to assess and we got to go through. So I'm very careful about overcorrecting people, because again, physiologically, people are just different. What else we got going on here? That's true. Those long fingers made. They did. I don't know.
Not really many questions.
I don't know what that means.
I think you're ready for the next number 2 here.
All right, number 2. Let's see here. Back to the page. All right. You guys think, yeah.
I was here over. You already did all that. Oh no, you're number 4 now.
All right. One thing I do want to mention to you guys. Yeah.
That's the big one.
I'm still curious to what you guys think on Trump, and whether or not,
I've only seen Trump pop up there. So.
Yeah.
And on Rumble, it's just been Trump.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys think. More importantly, I'm just curious. I'm excited to watch, the events of the next 11 months or so play out. I think there's some things going to happen that none of us could have predicted.
I can't wait to see the commercials.
I don't
the commercials are going to be epic.
I don't think Biden's going to make it, guys. I don't think Biden is going to. Whether or not he's still alive, or I don't think that matters.
Well, I just think whoever is going to be running against him is going to put up his ice cream eating videos and be like,
I
"Is
think
this
they're
what you
going to
want
do
as a
something at the
president?"
convention, or Biden's going to step down, and it's not going to be Kamala. So it's going to be somebody else. I don't know. I'm curious. All right, folks. Big announcement here. This is a big one. So the next 2 episodes right here on Dangerous Liberty will be Christmas episodes. We're going to be doing some big giveaways for that.
You a Merry Christmas.
Again, what I want to be able to do is make sure that we're giving back to you guys. So make sure you share the podcast, get that word out there. But we're definitely going to be doing some big giveaways for this. So make sure you guys are tuning in at least for the next 2 weeks, and then you can come back in a year for the last
For the next
2
Christmas.
weeks before Christmas, the last 2 episodes before Christmas the following year. But we are going to do some big giveaways for that.
Snap.
It's going to be fun. Oh, one thing I did want to mention too, folks. Grab that. I told you to sit down. Folks, we finally caught up. We've been getting regular shipments of the Garmin Zeros in, right? So we've been getting regular shipments of that. We finally caught up to all the pre-orders. So all the pre-orders, if we owed you a Garmin, those are gone. We have 2 in stock, ready to ship. And also, by the way, we just got in the Area 419 ARCA mounts for the Zeros. So if you go,
She only has a
order
limited
now-
amount, though. She only has that many.
All right, there's only 14 of the ARCA mounts, which, by the way, folks, those are sold out everywhere.
Yep.
So the Area 419 mounts, so you definitely want to go get yourself one of those ASAP. I will also add is, folks, we have something I really can't, I got to be careful I say this on the CommiTube here, but we have some MPA merchandise ready to ship in the shop. No 14 to 16, week wait. Go look at the ship now. And by the way, all those things are available for, the payment plans are available for those items as well.
You also have something else.
What's that?
That does the same thing as that MPA.
Oh, yeah, folks. So we had to invest heavily. So we need your help. But we had to invest heavily to become a direct Glock merchandise dealer. Right? So we do have some of those in the shop. The first shipment of those just came in. We are a direct with Glock partner, right? So that's not easy to do.
This is all we can say.
The other thing I will say, folks, I know a lot of you guys have been getting fired up about the zero compromise optics. I'm trying to temper everything I want to say about that and save that for the video. But if you're interested in those, I know they haven't been up on the site. Dan, our web guy, has been working to get all of those that we have in stock. We do have some in stock. So if you're interested, give me a call, shoot me an email, and we can talk about it. But those will be up on the site very soon. We also have mini Night Force in stock. Let me tell you something. At the end of this review, regardless of what the outcome is, folks, Night Force, Night Force is still an unbelievable optic. You will never go wrong buying a Night Force. Somebody was, quite frankly, it pissed me off a little bit, right? Hurt my feelings.
That's a
somebody in the
First
comments of the Zero Compromise video said, something along the lines of, Night Force is not a top tier optic. First of all, yes, they are. I've used Night Force. I've used Zero Compromise. I've looked through some tangent thetas. I haven't actually shot a tangent theta, but we were looking to get some of those in.
That dude probably had a task on his.
I don't really care
just
what he
letting
had.
you know.
But he basically said Schmidt and Bender, Zero Compromise, and tangent theta were the best out there. Well, those were the highest priced. First of all, I'll just tell you right now what I think about Schmidt and Bender, and this could have changed, but I'll tell you, back on our sniper teams, back in 2008 through 2012 when I got out, we had S&Bs, we had Schmidt and Bender optics available, and then we had Night Force attackers available. That's what we had available to us, and we had both. When we first got the Schmidt and Benders in, folks, we took those out, we field tested those, we T&E'd them, and let me tell you something, we had more of those things break, and I'm talking light usage. Is the glass in those things really good? Absolutely. Tracking seemed to be okay, but it doesn't mean shit if you're going to go out there and, like on a first field problem, not even a deployment. Like literally, this was across our entire group. Like people were all saying, yeah, our mitten bender's broke. So when it comes to durability, there's more to an optic than A, price, and B, just glass quality. Number one, Night Force has superb glass quality. Is it as good as Zero Compromise? I've already covered that. No, it's not. There's definitely a difference. And I'll talk more about that in the upcoming videos in a little more detail. But let me tell you something: you'll never go wrong with Night Force. Night Force will always be, unless they just change everything. Night Force is an optic that we will always be selling in our store, and we'll be proud to carry. I would say, and still to this day, if I was going on a deployment, or I was like, hey, Gary, you're going on an Alaskan hunt, and no, you're going to be out there for a while. Right now, I would still take a Night Force, just because I know what I've put these through personally. I've seen what other operators have put these through personally, and I've seen them come out, where you thought that optic was broken and it was still working just fine. So there's my spiel on Night Force. What else? Any other comments, gripes, or complaints?
I want to ask a question.
Go ahead.
Did you put your new shipment of the Glock
On the website?
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Okay. That's all I was wondering. If not, hopefully it will be soon.
Summer's
Here
out
you
there
go,
somewhere.
Gary. Hooley has a good question for you.
For the long range training course, will there be free time to shoot other guns? Free time to shoot other
That's a kind of a wide
What
open
does that
question, brother.
mean?
Are you shooting a pistol?
Clarify. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Are you talking about like shooting
a signal rifle or a signal pistol? I mean, flare gun or
I'm assuming you're saying use other people's rifles, or are you saying like bring other guns to shoot?
bring the 22 short and plink some.
Be careful going. Throw up Mike Hinn's comment while we're waiting on clarification on that. Be careful going. It's kind of Disney. You're going to spend more than you expect.
Nah. It's more than your wife wants you to.
First of all, block Mike forever. He's done. No, don't do that. Throw up Mick's book on there on S&B, because I completely agree with that. I'm not going to say about Kales. I have very limited limited experience on Collis, but S&B for sure, I believe. And again, I haven't seen their newest stuff in the last couple of years or tested it or anything like that. So there's been some big changes in optic companies, and we'll talk more about that. But S&B absolutely, I think they're at least overpriced. I think they're at least overpriced, and I don't believe in their durability over that. One thing while we're talking about optics, folks, Zeiss is actually sponsoring the XP Long Range Academy, and
Ooh.
I wouldn't even considered, my idea of Zeiss is kind of like second focal plane, hunter, kind of FUD optics, going, European FUD optics. That's kind of been my experience in the past. It was Ray who actually said, Gary, you got to check out this LRP S3. And he raved about it so much that I ended up shooting and checking his out on his gun. And long story short, that thing is pretty darn phenomenal. We have become a dealer for Zeiss, and I'm really excited about it. They are sponsoring our courses, and I can tell you, folks, they have bent over backwards to assist us and accommodate us and take care of us in ways that I was never expecting. We got our first batch of the S3s going in. If you haven't checked out Ray's review over on X-Ring, make sure you go check that out, because I'm telling you, it is super impressive. And right now they have a price break going on with those. I think they were originally like $3,000. They were a lot. They've come down significantly, but we will be getting some in. We are becoming a dealer. I'm actually really excited about that. That S3 for the price is a phenomenal optic, and it's something that you should probably put on your. And again, what I'm talking about is why I'm not so. I'm careful when I write off S&B, for instance, because that was my experience with them 10 years ago, 12 years ago. if, same thing with Zeiss, I would have written Zeiss off completely, but they've completely changed. Now they have first focal plane optics. They're definitely going after the PRS crowd. They're definitely going after optics that would be used or possibly be used in military and law enforcement, where that was not always the case. And they've really stepped up their games on this. Bringing more than just the gun I will train with during the course.
I
All
think
right.
he just wants to shoot something during breaks or lunch or whatever is what he's trying to
So probably not, to be honest. You can bring the gun if there's a genuine opportunity. If you have another rifle that you brought with you and you got time and we have time, what I will tell you folks is that we are running this course in a way where you are going to have testing and knowledge standards that you're going to have to test to pass with. And then you are going to have performance standards that you're a course of fire that you're going to have to shoot and pass at the end of that course. So, when you have a course that people just attend and it gives them the opportunity to take some of that stuff lightly, that's where you can jump in there and shoot some other guns. If you bring that gun and we have time and it's not distracting, it's not taken away from other students, and it's not taken away from, instructors working with other students or anything like that, I have no problem with that. But I would venture to say that you're probably not going to have time, because you're going to want to get as many rounds and as much data with whatever your gun that you're going to be testing with on day 3, that it's probably, just strategically a bad idea. But bring it if we have time to shoot it. Now, what I will also say, folks, if you're coming to level 1 and level 2, there's a day break in between there. And during that second day, let's say for instance, you bring your rifles. You bring your own rifle, but you're not sure how it's going to perform. So you decided for level 1, you're going to rent our guns. You can rent our guns. We're going to show you how to set everything up day 0, right? It starts on a Friday. We're going to go through a classroom session, talking about all your equipment, talking about internal terminal ballistics, but mainly talking about gun setup, talking about optics, talking about ammo, things that you need to know if you were going to leave there and go purchase a rifle, and or if you were going to leave there and set up a rifle, because you are. Even our guns that we have available to you, if you rent one of those, folks, that gun is not staying set up. You're going to take that thing out of its rings. You're going to go through and you're going to mount that optic. We're going to then zero that optic. We're going to work with you and show you how to do that, do it correctly. And we're going to show you how to confirm that, right? So we're going to take you down there. We're going to zero that optic, and then we're going to shoot a tall target test. That's day 1. Let's say you also brought your rifle and you want to shoot level 2 with your own rifle. That break in between, which is a Monday, you can come. We're going to consider that kind of a 0 day, limited hours. We're not going to be out there all day managing students, because we have to set up the course for level 2, but limited hours where you can come, you can set up your rifle if you plan on using a different gun, and get that set up, get that zeroed, and confirm, your 0, as well as making sure that your optic is tracking correctly and all the other good stuff with the tall target test. So there'll be some opportunities to do some of those things. We want to get you there, but what I also don't want to do is, because we have it happen all the time, folks, and this is why we haven't had like performance standards in some of the long range courses in the past, is because, quite frankly, we've been too, I don't know, like a little too kind about this, because people will get there with a gun that's shooting 2 MOA or 1.5 MOA, and it's just a freaking struggle bus for the instructor, for the student, the entire time. But let me tell you something. If your gun, and by the way, most of the time, folks, these are people who say, hey, no, my gun shoots really well. I don't need to use one of your guns. And again, folks, our rental guns are not there to like make a bunch of money, because I promise you, we are not making a bunch of money on those. If we ever just pay them off, given what we're charging, anyways. So that
All
is
the
not, that is
accoutrement
not,
on them.
it would be so much easier for us and everybody else, and financially, investment wise, it'd be easier to just bring your own gun. But the problem is when you got a shooting standard and that you have to pass, people are going to be much more focused, and you get that gun out there and that's shooting 2 MOA, and you're not going to want number one, we're not going to allow you to. Like if you show up with your gun and it's shooting like 2 MOA, you're not going to pass the course. So you're going to waste your time, and quite frankly, you're going to waste our time. And then we're going to be troubleshooting that gun to the point where it's just going to be a bad experience for everybody, and you're going to leave disappointed. And it's because not because of your performance, but because your rifle and the system, right? The shooter, the optic, the gun, the mount, and the ammo, right? That's what we have going on there. We want to get rid of those variables so that you can perform at your top, and we want to make sure that we set you up for success so you can leave there with feeling like you accomplished something and feeling like you actually did something that, quite frankly, not everybody's going to pass. It's just the fact of the matter. What else we got going on here?
First off, special shout out to Jason's wife there. And then Team 55 next has a good question for you.
This is Jason. He literally has your speakerphone on our date night.
I like it.
Well, I like
love it.
I love it. Love it indeed. Well, tell him to buy you dessert.
Yeah.
My God, you had
Hopefully
to-
you're
you had
eating
to-
a big
you had to
old
listen to
fat
me flap
steak.
my gums all through your
Big old
date
fat
night. I
steak
can't
on
think of
date night.
anything worse.
You
What
can
else?
You can come on my date night anytime you want, Gary.
Team 55 has a good question for you.
Gary, what is the best glass scope you have ever used?
Oh. None.
Mm.
Iron sights. And you're digging deep. I thought that would just be like the top of your head.
No, well, it kind of is, but
You don't want to shout them, don't shout them.
no.
Bush now, 3x9 40.
Tasco.
Tasco, 3x9 40. Tell you what, I've killed a lot of deer with 3x9 40 Tasco. I'm just gonna tell you right now.
I just want to make sure I get this right in my mind, and I think of anything that I haven't missed before.
I hate that you said something about Tasco. Out to 100, that thing with 308 will kill deer.
Folks,
all
I'm going to
day.
be to answer your question. I honestly think that as far as what I've used, I think that ZC 527. I mean, I really like that.
Write that down.
I really like that thing. And again, I'll go into some of the details over there. What I am excited to test more is right over there. I have the ZC 840. I am really looking forward to testing that. I actually got one that's going on a client's gun. We'll probably do some sort of review on that. Man, there's just so much I really like about that ZCL, and I don't want to, I want to be careful not overstate it, but I really do, man. I love the features on it. A couple of little complaints that I have with Night Force, ZCO, like almost directly addresses those. And it's just, man, the image through that thing is sick. I love the illumination. The glass is crazy clear.
Price point's under 200.
I really like the Impact 3 and the Impact 3 reticle on that. I think, man, that is an impressive reticle too. And I'll go over some of those things. And I don't want to sound like a shill. Like I want to make sure that, I'm not, because I'm not, I mean, I'm just telling you, man, I really am personally excited about these optics. I didn't, I didn't think I would like them as much as, and honestly, I went into it thinking, projecting the outcome of like, yeah, it's good. It's probably marginally better than Night Force, but in my opinion, it's just not worth the extra money. I don't feel that way. It's not worth the extra money to a lot of people. I'll just tell you that. Some people will say, hey, this is more than enough, and it absolutely is. But there's some people out there that are going to want that with the convenience of a lot of the features on there, and it's just a slight upgrade. And the question is are those slight upgrades worth an additional $500 to $1,000 to you? Some of you, it won't be. Some of you, but again, it's like you can get a Ferrari with whatever package, or you can get another Ferrari with the GT convenience package or whatever, with all kinds of other accoutrements that you can get with it. So,
Summer, if you're listening, put in a more order on these Ecos.
oh, they're we already did. They already did.
It's going to be rolling now.
I am more impressed with the Zico than I thought I would be. I'll just put it that way. If you were to build a long gun, what would it consist of? And Ray, if you are still watching, you probably fall asleep. He watches our episodes and then like 30 minutes until he falls asleep. Sorry.
He gonna text you and cuss you out here in a minute.
If you were to build a long range gun, would it? Well, I'm actually building next year. So
Don't give all the secrets away.
no. So I'm building a long range gun, and I got a couple of them coming. One I'm building just kind of for fun. It will be a 7mm PRC
For funsies?
for funsies and 300 PRC from MPA, by the way.
Ooh.
I do think
Does Summer now?
she does.
That's
So
cool. Does she
it will be
approve?
one rifle that's a 300 PRC barrel and a 7mm PRC barrel for fun, long distance shooting, right? ELR type stuff. My next rifle, I'm building one just for PRS next year. That's going to be 6mm dasher with the Matrix chassis. The 7mm PRC / 300 PRC is going to be in the ESR chassis, which no, I don't have it. I don't have that gun over
I
there.
don't see it,
Anyways,
yeah.
so but that's what it's going to be, and those are going to have Zico optics on them. I'm just not going to lie.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, Gary, could you talk briefly about seasoning a barrel with new tech? Not needing it.
Seasoning, I like meat church seasoning.
No, I saw a break-in barrel.
I like meat church.
Yeah, you know,
The joke.
I don't believe in a barrel break-in process for new rifles. But I want to be careful about I say that. What you also don't want to do is just go out there and smoke through a barrel. Me and Ray talked about this a couple weeks ago. What I will tell you is that if you do some sort of break-in regimen, nothing wrong with that. It won't hurt it.
Didn't Eric Cortina talk about that too? He didn't
Yeah,
do much of anything. He
he
said
doesn't-
just don't go there and smoke it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah. I mean,
shoot it regular.
I think that's kind of the growing consensus among most professionals,
Yeah.
right? Guys that shoot a lot. We all realize that I think a barrel break-in process probably didn't do much to begin with, but the way that CNC technology and barrel making technology has gotten so much better, you know, before way back in the day in the 70s and before that or whatever else, you know, we had all kinds of, you know, tooling marks left in the barrel, and there was a process that you could probably do to get the rifle to a point where it would shoot better, and you know, you were basically lapping that barrel. I mean, most barrels you get today, if they're good, you know, you can put a bore scope in there, especially the MPA barrels. I mean, they look like a mirror inside there, right? And a lot of good Loja barrels, Bartling. I mean, all these great barrel companies. Now, with that being said, what will affect what you don't want to do is just pump a bunch of rounds through there. You know, what I will also say is that a new barrel is going to foul more, both copper and carbon. So, you know, I would say be conservative. You know, shoot. You know, Ray said. I'm gonna tell you what Ray says, and then I'll tell you what I'm gonna do because I think even that's too much time wasted. But Ray says basically, you know, I think he's saying either shoot 1 round, clean it for 3 rounds, you know, something like that, and then like 5 rounds. He says that what he basically does. And Ray, if you're still listening, correct me. I don't want to get what you said wrong, but basically an abbreviated version of the old break-in process. With me, I'm probably going to shoot now, especially with my competition gun that's coming in 6mm, because again, that's another thing too. Some of this stuff is so dependent on caliber and things like that. If I have a smaller bore diameter, like fouling in there is going to affect pressures much faster. So that's something else to consider. With my 6 dasher that's going to come in, I am probably going to shoot like 5-10 rounds, clean that real good, and probably, you know, shoot like another box, clean it real good. I'm going to be a little bit more conservative and on the safe side with a smaller caliber gun than on the large side, because again, you're creating so much pressure. So a little bit more carbon, a little bit more copper is going to greatly increase those pressures a lot faster, because the volume that you have is much more, you know, you start restricting that with carbon or copper fouling, it's going to cause pressure issues.
That makes sense.
I don't know if I definitively answered your question, but there's
say,
not
Ray-
really a definitive
Ray must
answer
be
on that.
asleep already.
Jeff says, Gary, when you gonna do some LR laser illumination?
Ooh.
Very soon. As a matter of fact, so I got the newest one from L3 coming. I have a mall over there, and then I have a Ep54. I'm waiting to get those in, and then I'm gonna do a review on the newest L3. I forgot what it was called. Anyways, very soon, very soon. I may go ahead and just do one because it'd be fun to do on the Ep54 and the mall. So soon. What else? We do carry night vision. If you're interested in night vision and you're interested in IR aim devices, let us know.
Yeah,
We'll get that done.
look back at the other shows. We talked a lot about that, actually.
Yeah. What else? Yep. All right. Well, folks, listen, we really appreciate you guys. By the way, just to let you guys know, 2023 has been the greatest year ever for Paramount. It was the first year that I went full time. I think it was back in February. I quit my government job and have been doing this full time. And man, just that we've been able to go, I've been able to go full time, home with the family, working with my wife every single day, doing what I want to do and doing what I love. And the fact that we can still pay the bills to do that.
And the lights are still on.
And the lights are still on. We're still, feeding the kids.
There's still heat running.
Folks, the greatest gift I've ever had, right? I mean, just an awesome experience. And it's because of you guys and your support. So I just want to say, number one, thank you. And on top of that, revenue-wise, 2023 has been our greatest year ever. And that's also because of you. And I just can't even begin to tell you how thankful, grateful that we are and appreciative of your support, that you guys show up here every Wednesday, that we have great guys like Chris and Sean back there. And we have so many people that support this company and support what we do. And I got nothing to complain about and have an awesome life. And it's because of you guys. And we really appreciate that. So,
well, congrats, Gary.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you.
No, seriously.
Yeah, been a great year. Been an awesome year, and it's just nice to have a career. I pretty much have always been traveling, right?
It was probably sketchy in February when he was like, you know what, F it.
I wasn't. Summer was worried.
Sure
I didn't give. I knew that we were going to be okay. But I was like, babe, I'm quitting. I'm tired of this. She's like, no, you're not.
How many times you sleep on the couch that week?
So Hooli has one more question for you.
Yeah, send it. Do you guys have training courses geared toward an AR-10 DMR? So yes, we do already. But with that being said, Ray and I are putting together. That's something that we want to do out at Pig River Precision as well. We haven't got those courses up yet. We haven't finalized that curriculum or exactly, but that's something we both want to do, and we want to get those courses up next year. So that's coming. Right now, I'll be honest with you, we got so much going on, just launching these new courses, dealing with, we have a couple of new sponsors coming on just in the last couple of weeks. We're getting everything together, tents, gear, all that. So it's coming. So yes, we are going to be doing DMR courses specifically, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So
I think 24 is going to beat this year.
24 is going to smoke this year. There's no doubt about it.
All
right, folks. Well, listen up. We love you guys. We appreciate you. Make sure you go check out the links down below. If you guys would like to support what we do, again, we have a Patreon. We'd appreciate for those of you that want to support us that way. That's great. But if not, at least buy all your gear through us, right? We really appreciate the support on that. Again, if you go to our website, the only gear that we carry are items that we've personally tested, we believe in. We're not going to put up gear that just because it makes us a bunch of money. That's not what we're about. We want to make sure that we're providing you gear that we believe in. I mean, it's as simple as that. Also, our training courses. Again, we got lots of training coming up. We appreciate everybody. There's many people that are in the comments right now that have been to our courses.
Take at least one a year.
And it's not just me. Like, we got so many great instructors that unfortunately, for work reasons, a lot of times don't get to get up here in front of the camera. Like, we have some amazing instructors,
absolutely,
that are just, they're phenomenal. And if you come to our courses, you'll get to meet them. But same thing, man. They have operational experience. They have professional time as instructors, so they know how to teach well. They know how to do well. It's just a great thing, and I'm really excited about working with Ray next year. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And we got a lot of new things coming up on the social media wise and other courses. We got night vision courses coming up. More med courses. lot of things in the works, folks. So no shortage of training opportunities. And if, again, buy your stuff through us, we appreciate that, because we're going to give you, even if if there's ever a situation where you find something a little bit cheaper, number one, let us know. But number two, what I promise you, if you go buy that stuff from somebody else, you're not going to get the customer service and the support that you're going to get from us. And you're not going to get somebody that you can call on the phone and talk to. I spend hours a week on the phone talking to clients that I've never even met, or even potential clients, thinking about stuff. You know, I try to be free with my time and to give my time freely and to help you guys out. So, because I know how it is. I know how it is trying to, you know, make gear decisions or whatever else. So Jeff says, when we start carrying reloading stuff like powders and primers? Yep, Jeff, that's coming. Jeff, I got some things in the works right there.
Snap.
Start doing that. Honestly, Jeff, I want to do that just so that I always have a supply for myself. That's one thing that I'm going to get with that 6-dasher. I will be doing a lot more reloading. And I want to make sure that I have honestly, that's a lot of times, like, I want that thing, right? Like Night Force. I love Night Force. I want to become a Night Force dealer because I love Night Force. So that's what I did. That way, if I want to, I can go sneak one off the shelf when summer's not looking. And it's happened more than once, right?
It's happened going my rifle.
All right, folks, we're going to let you guys go. We really appreciate you tuning in. And until next time, stay armed, stay ready. We'll talk to you soon.